The most powerful men aren't the ones making all the noise, they're the ones no one saw coming. While the crowd fixates on the loudest voice in the room, the quietest presence is calmly observing everything. Here's a hard truth backed by modern behavioral psychology: individuals who exist outside traditional dominance hierarchies tend to be more strategic, less predictable, and virtually impossible to control. In plain terms, Sigma males don't just play the game, they subtly rewrite the rules. They don't bark for attention. They don't chase approval. And they definitely don't follow the herd. Yet somehow, they win. Silently. Consistently. Relentlessly. Like that one guy who strolls in late, barely speaks, and still aces the final with a quiet smirk. Sigma males succeed without the performance. You're about to uncover 12 brutally unfair, deeply misunderstood advantages that make Sigma males the glitch in the masculine matrix, the ones who ignore the script, break all the rules, and still walk away wearing the crown. Buckle up, because once you understand how a Sigma really operates, there's no going back. Stick around, because point number 8 is where it gets really interesting. Let's dive into it. Number 1, he's immune to status games. Sigma males are a glitch in the social code, completely immune to the cheap currency of status tricks. In a world where people flash designer brands, name-drop celebrities, or wave around job titles to gain approval, the Sigma male remains unmoved. He doesn't care if you drive a Bentley or a beat-up pickup truck. Your label doesn't impress him. Your title doesn't shake him. You could be the CEO or the janitor, he's not swayed. Because what he's paying attention to runs far deeper: your energy, your composure when no one's watching, whether your confidence is genuine or manufactured. This unnerves people, especially those who've built their entire identity around being admired. When their usual tricks fall flat, they start trying harder. They speak louder, brag more, overextend themselves, all while the Sigma male watches silently. And that's the trap. The more they perform, the more obvious their insecurities become. But the Sigma doesn't set this trap on purpose. It's simply how he exists, unaffected, observant, grounded. He's not anti-success. He simply understands that real power isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It doesn't chase validation. It just is. In social settings, this makes him disruptive, not because he seeks chaos, but because his calm exposes the noise. While everyone else is chasing likes, followers, and approval, the Sigma is watching, carefully decoding who's genuinely confident and who's just addicted to being seen. He's not trying to be rude. He's not trying to dominate. He's just refusing to place value on things that lack depth. And in a world built on illusion, that makes him a mirror, and a mirror makes most people uncomfortable. They either feel drawn to his rare authenticity or exposed by it. Either way, he doesn't blink. Because he's not here to win a popularity contest. He's building something different. Something real. And if that means standing alone outside the social club, so be it. He never wanted their invitation anyway. Number 2, he's the ghost in the algorithm. In a world obsessed with visibility, the Sigma male is a master of strategic invisibility. While most people are performing for likes, chasing viral trends, and giving themselves away to the algorithm, the Sigma is quietly studying the system. He doesn't just use technology, he reverse engineers it. He watches how people respond, what grabs their attention, how platforms shape behavior, and where the real control lies. But instead of getting swept up in the chaos, he detaches. He analyzes. He adapts. And then he disappears into the flow. This is not the guy updating his status every hour or jumping on every trend. You won't find him in every group chat, but somehow, he still knows everything. He doesn't need digital applause to validate his existence. He doesn't need to be seen to have influence. In fact, he thrives in silence. While the rest of the world builds online personas, he mines the data they give away, for leverage, not attention. He knows how to vanish from search results yet still be in the rooms where decisions are made. His impact is felt in outcomes, not in online noise. He's the type to hack a system without anyone realizing he was ever there. He doesn't rage against the matrix. He just walks through it, effortlessly. And by the time anyone notices the shift, he's already rewritten the narrative and moved on. This isn't just intelligence. It's invisible dominance. He doesn't ask for permission. He doesn't seek recognition. He understands how the game works, and that gives him the ultimate advantage, freedom from it. Number 3, emotional currency doesn't work on him. Most people operate on emotional currency. A little praise makes them glow. A little guilt makes them bend. A seductive glance makes them forget their values. But the Sigma male is a different breed entirely. Emotional manipulation doesn't stick to him, it slides off like water on steel. You can compliment him, but it won't inflate his ego. He'll register it like a weather report, neutral, unemotional data. You can insult him, and he won't break stride. It's just noise in the background. You can try to flirt, but he won't melt or lose focus. He may even smile, politely, detached, then return to whatever mission his mind is locked on. It's not that he lacks emotion. It's that he doesn't sell it. His emotions are self-regulated and privately owned. He doesn't trade them for approval or validation. That kind of sovereignty throws people off balance, especially those who are used to getting their way through emotional triggers. The Sigma doesn't give manipulators what they crave, a reaction. No ego to feed, no shame to exploit, no thirst for attention to manipulate. You can't gaslight a man who has spent years in solitude learning the architecture of his own mind. You can't guilt-trip someone who knows the difference between your problem and his boundary. And you certainly can't seduce a man who doesn't chase. This emotional firewall makes him deeply unpredictable, and that's the point. He's not just resilient, he's emotionally immune to most modern forms of psychological control. While others dance to the rhythm of attention, validation, and fear, he moves in silence, unaffected, unreadable, untouchable. Number 4, he leaves no digital fingerprints. In the digital age, most people are practically giving their lives away, voluntarily. Every meal, every mood, every moment is uploaded, shared, liked, judged. They've traded their privacy for relevance. Not the Sigma male. The Sigma understands that visibility is vulnerability. He doesn't just value privacy, he weaponizes it. Every post he doesn't make, every opinion he doesn't share, every check-in he skips is a deliberate act of power. It's not fear. It's strategy. He moves like a shadow, present, but never pinned down. You won't find him ranting online, oversharing in stories, or chasing digital applause. You might see a curated image here or there, but even that is a calculated move. What you see is exactly what he wants you to see. Nothing more. No real tells. No loose ends. Because the less you reveal, the harder you are to define. And if no one can define you, no one can control you. Sigma males aren't off-grid because they're paranoid, they're aware. They know data is currency. Every like, every comment, every post is a breadcrumb for someone else's algorithm, whether it's corporations, governments, or enemies. So instead of shouting into the void, the Sigma listens, observes, calculates. He uses the internet like a sniper uses a scope, precise, quiet, and only when necessary. And in a world obsessed with being seen, someone who refuses to be visible becomes dangerous. People don't understand him, so they assume he's hiding something. And he is, his power. He's not building a digital identity. He's building a real one. One that can't be copied, downloaded, or cancelled. That's not just privacy, it's digital dominance. And in a world of noise, the Sigma's silence is the loudest thing in the room. Number 5, he's a threat without saying a word. The Sigma male doesn't need to raise his voice to command attention, his silence does it for him. But don't mistake that silence for emptiness. It's not awkwardness, insecurity, or social discomfort. His silence is calculated, deliberate, and deeply rooted in internal power. While others rush to fill the air with meaningless chatter, nervous jokes, or exaggerated opinions just to be seen or heard, the Sigma male sits in total stillness, composed, grounded, and unmoved. This kind of silence disrupts people. It's unnerving. Why? Because it forces others to confront the noise inside themselves. His calmness doesn't just highlight his own control, it mirrors back the chaos, insecurity, and desperation in everyone around him. Most people rely on reaction. They thrive on being acknowledged, validated, or challenged. But when the Sigma male doesn't flinch, when he doesn't even blink in the face of tension, conflict, or provocation, it short-circuits the expected emotional script. In heated moments, he doesn't escalate. In confrontations, he doesn't engage in dramatic outbursts. Instead, he watches, measures, absorbs. He becomes the eye of the storm, calm, steady, unreadable. That blank expression isn't a lack of awareness, it's a sign of total control. He's not trying to win. He's waiting for you to show your hand. And most do. Because the one who doesn't speak, but clearly sees everything, is often the most dangerous man in the room. His restraint isn't weakness, it's a subtle form of psychological dominance. He doesn't threaten. He doesn't posture. But his quiet, unwavering presence says, I could shut this down if I wanted to. I just don't need to. That's what makes people back off instinctively. His energy doesn't scream for attention, but it radiates authority. There's something primal in that kind of power, something ancient that whispers, this man is not to be trifled with. And that's the beauty of it, while others overexpose themselves in a desperate attempt to seem powerful, the Sigma male says nothing, and yet everyone listens. Because his silence isn't passive. It's tactical. Intentional. Loaded. Number 6, he doesn't want power, and that's why he gets it. Ironically, the Sigma male's quiet disinterest in power is exactly what makes him the most powerful man in the room. While others scramble for status, trying to lead every conversation, dominate every space, or control every outcome, the Sigma steps back. He doesn't chase influence. He doesn't beg for leadership. He simply focuses on mastering himself. And in that act of self-mastery, others begin to follow him, not because he asked, but because he earned it. Most people equate power with control. They think dominance means being the loudest, most visible, or most feared. But Sigma males understand something far deeper. Real power doesn't need to be claimed. It's magnetized. When you no longer need to control others, you become immune to the very forces that manipulate and corrupt most leaders. Power-hungry individuals are easy to spot, and even easier to break. Their ego is fragile, their confidence borrowed, and their leadership rooted in insecurity. But the Sigma male is different. He doesn't seek validation, doesn't react to provocation, and doesn't care for public approval. That indifference creates a strange paradox. People naturally respect the one who doesn't need their respect. In group dynamics, he becomes the anchor in the chaos, not because he demands it, but because his stillness, logic, and consistency make him the most trustworthy presence. While others argue over titles and hierarchy, the Sigma is building something of his own, quietly, methodically, and without permission. And when power finally arrives at his doorstep, because it always does, he holds it with grace. Without ego. Without fear. He doesn't let the crown corrupt him, because he never needed it to define him in the first place. That's the final twist. The Sigma male is the one person who can truly be trusted with power. Not because he wanted it, but because he proved, through action, clarity, and discipline, that he doesn't need it to be complete. And in a world obsessed with dominance, that's the rarest kind of strength. Number 7. He sees through masks like glass. The Sigma male sees through facades with surgical precision, not because he's psychic, but because he spent a lifetime as the silent observer. While others rush to respond or impress, he sits in the background, watching, always watching. And in that silence, he's learned a secret: people expose themselves in the small things. Most individuals focus on what is said, but the Sigma is attuned to how it's said: the tightness in your smile, the flicker of doubt in your eyes, the slight pause before a reply. He doesn't need to interrogate or investigate. He simply registers the inconsistency between your words and your energy. And once he does, he never forgets it. But what unsettles people the most isn't that he sees through them, it's that he never calls it out. No confrontation. No drama. Just a quiet shift in how he engages with you. You may not even realize it right away, but suddenly, the warmth is gone. The energy has cooled. And you're locked out without even hearing the door close. He doesn't expose you publicly. He simply withdraws his trust. And that subtle rejection cuts deeper than any insult. Because people are used to pretending, and getting away with it. But with the Sigma male, there's no second chance. Once he sees the falsehood, the illusion is shattered permanently. He's not judgmental. He just values authenticity with unshakable loyalty. If you're real, he'll walk through fire for you. If you're fake, he'll never rely on you again. That's why fakes, manipulators, and image-obsessed personalities feel uneasy around him. They can't play their usual games. Not with someone who reads them like an open book and chooses to close it, quietly, permanently. Number 8. He's psychologically untraceable. The Sigma male is psychologically untraceable because he doesn't conform to the mental templates society uses to classify people. Introvert or extrovert? Dominant or passive? Thinker or feeler? You might try to pin him down with a label, but just when you think you've figured him out, he shifts. Not because he's being deceptive, but because he's complex by nature. He's a paradox that walks. One moment, he's reserved and unreadable. The next, he's radiating charm with unexpected wit. He might lead with precision or disappear into silence. He might be curious today, stoic tomorrow. And every one of those versions is authentically him. This fluidity confuses most people because we're conditioned to associate consistency with reliability. But the Sigma's consistency lies in his adaptability, not in fixed behavior, but in inner stability. He is not scattered, he is whole. And that wholeness contains layers, each one carefully developed, earned through solitude, experience, and observation. This is why manipulators and therapists alike often fail to read him. There's no obvious pattern to exploit. No exposed emotional wound to press. He doesn't react on cue. You can't trigger him with predictable moves because he's not playing a predictable game. He doesn't hide behind masks, he lives behind layers. And each layer is real, with purpose and intention. Access to his inner world must be earned. And even then, you're only shown what he wants to reveal. He's not guarding secrets to be mysterious, he's preserving his energy from those who haven't earned the right to witness it. That's what makes the Sigma male psychologically intimidating. Not because he's trying to be unreadable, but because he refuses to collapse himself into a single identity. In a world desperate for definitions, he stays undefined. And that mystery, rooted in depth, not deception, makes him impossible to control, label, or predict. Number 9. He doesn't seek revenge, he evolves beyond you. The Sigma male doesn't waste his energy chasing revenge. He doesn't stew, plot, or obsess over getting even. Why? Because he sees revenge as a trap, a distraction from his real goal, evolution. While others stay stuck in bitterness, the Sigma transforms his pain into purpose. He doesn't want to prove anything to you, he wants to become so evolved, so far beyond the version of himself you tried to hurt, that your betrayal becomes irrelevant. A footnote. A faded memory. You expect rage, maybe retaliation. But what you get is far worse, complete and chilling indifference. He vanishes from your emotional radar. No response, no closure, just quiet, undeniable growth. You're left watching him rise, succeed, and build, without needing your apology or attention. That silence is deafening. It's not revenge. It's power. A kind of power that cannot be confronted, blocked, or reversed. The Sigma simply becomes unreachable, emotionally, mentally, energetically. And that hurts more than any comeback ever could. You become a ghost in a world he's outgrown. His success becomes the mirror you're forced to stare into. And what you see isn't him. It's what you lost. No second chances. No keys back in. That's the Sigma's justice, not petty retaliation, but personal transformation so massive, your actions shrink in comparison. He doesn't sink to your level. He ascends so high, your betrayal becomes dust beneath his feet. Number 10, he exploits chaos while others freeze. While the world trembles, the Sigma sharpens. He doesn't just survive chaos, he uses it. While others freeze, panic, or collapse, he leans in with deadly clarity. Disorder doesn't scare him, it reveals his true edge. While most people cling to structure to feel safe, the Sigma male never put his faith in the system to begin with. So when it breaks, he's already detached, already plotting his next move. While the crowd waits for orders, he builds. Not to fix the world for applause, but to redesign it in a way that serves him. He's not shaken by unpredictability, he trains in it. His mind becomes laser-focused in disaster. He watches where people crack, where control slips, where power bleeds, and he strikes with surgical precision. Where others scream for stability, the Sigma sees opportunity. He studies the collapse, finds the leverage, and reconstructs a new order from the ashes. Not for dominance, but for clarity, control, and evolution. That's why when the storm passes, he's not just standing. He's leading. Not because he chased power, but because when the masks fell, and the weak froze, he was already moving. Already winning. Already reborn. Number 11, he triggers without trying, because his presence exposes illusions. The Sigma male doesn't try to trigger people, he just does. Why? Because his presence disrupts the ego scaffolding others rely on. He's not loud. He's not performing. He doesn't need attention, and that unnerves people. Grounded, calm, indifferent to praise or power games, he exposes everything others work hard to hide. He doesn't chase validation, so yours feels empty. He doesn't bow to dominance, so the dominator feels weak. He doesn't crave inclusion, so the people pleaser feels rejected. Without speaking, he reflects the truth. That much of what people do is just performance. He triggers the fake alpha by ignoring his power. The status chaser by being unimpressed. The attention seeker by walking away. He's not cold, he's whole. He doesn't provoke, he reveals. And that's the real threat? He doesn't need the game. And when he walks in, the game starts to look like a joke. Because deep down, everyone knows. He's the only one in the room who's already free. Number 12, he's already 10 moves ahead, and you'll never see it coming. While others live reactively, lost in emotions, ego, or distractions, the Sigma male is quietly calculating the long game. He doesn't think in straight lines. He thinks in patterns, systems, triggers, outcomes. While you're planning your next move, he's already at the finish line, adjusting pieces from the future. His silence isn't emptiness, it's strategy. His calm isn't passivity, it's precision. You think you've cornered him? He planned that. You think you're outsmarting him? He's already abandoned the board you're playing on. He doesn't care for quick wins. He's not chasing applause. He's setting up dominoes in the background, stacking leverage in ways that won't reveal themselves until it's too late. And when everything falls exactly as he intended, he's already gone, working silently on the next structure, the next evolution, the next shift in power. He doesn't dominate the room with words. He shifts the entire room's gravity with moves no one saw coming. And the scariest part? There are no fingerprints. No trails. No ego. Just results. You realize too late. He was never playing the same game as you. Final words, the Sigma doesn't want your crown, he builds his own kingdom. The Sigma male isn't in it for attention, status, or dominance. He moves for truth, for clarity, for purpose. He refines himself in silence. He bends reality without noise. He doesn't seek control, he is control. In a world obsessed with being seen, he is the shadow behind the system. And when he acts, the impact is surgical, irreversible, and clean. You won't see him coming. You won't know what he's planning. And when it's over, you'll realize he never needed you to see it at all. If that hit you, then listen up. If this awakened something in you, if it hit deep, made you rethink the way power truly works, then do one thing. Smash that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments, even if it's just one word. And subscribe. Because this isn't just content. This is a mindset shift, and if you're part of the 1% who truly gets it, help grow the tribe that moves in silence and dominates without ever needing to be seen. Welcome to the Sigma frequency. Stay sharp, stay silent, and keep walking ahead, while they're still figuring out where you started.